call it Shireen G or what?
No, please just call me Shireen. No
okay.
G required.
Okay, so my daughter's name is Shireen, so it becomes a little bit, she's also on this show. So welcome Shireen and Ravinder ji again to the show. It's been, we just thought a 1.5 month back while talking to Sanjay ji that, tough times, being at home, what should we do? And this is what we started. It's a weekly once affair. And we had interesting sessions. The idea was to how do we get the young generation glued to some new ideas, and there will be a lot of people who will be available. Like, there are a lot of guests who are available for these kind of things. So we started it. I'll talk. We have Mr. Dilip Mattu, who will address. He's a president of Jammu Kashmir Vichar Manch, the organization which runs this shows. Besides this, we have a couple of more of them running, which is a Katbaat, the Kashmiri chit chat, which happens twice a week, and then we have a Kashmiri Gashtaruk, which is a musical 1-hour show which happens every weekend. It used to happen every day, but since the unlock phase 1, we shifted to a weekly once. So Dilip ji will address, will have a welcome note, and I will a little bit moderate more on the sessions, and then we will have a vote of thanks by Mr. Sanjay Raina in the end. Dilip ji, welcome note to you.
Okay, Namaskar Marasarini. Welcome all viewers. Welcome our esteemed guests. Welcome all children who are joining us in this webinar. Past 2 months we have been doing this webinar consistently. Every Sunday we have been doing it. Earlier we were doing it in the morning. Now for last week we have now shifted to the evening session. So today among us is the most distinguished panel who will be addressing our children. We have Ravinder Banji, a very experienced business manager. He has contributed huge way in the corporate world by creating as a mentor, as a tracker, as a team builder. Along with him, we have our sister Shireen Ban, a beautiful lady. She has been managing editor with the CNBC TV 18. And she has been in media for last 19 years, has done a lot of things, has been in news for various contributions to the news world, to the media. She has also had some accolades to her. She has got the Best Business Talk Show Award for 2 consecutive years. Has also got a Global Leader Award from the FICCI, from the World Economic Forum. So we have very distinguished panel, which I briefly described in detail. Vinod ji and the guests themselves will tell more about themselves. You see, this seminar we are basically doing for our youth to connect with Kashmir, to connect them to their future prospects, to connect them to new happenings in the world. So we are trying to give a bigger exposure to our youth, and you will have to address our youth as a big, because most of the people who are watching you are young. And at the end of this session, they will be putting you some questions, whatever they will be feeling like asking or inquiring about themselves. They will be asking, and you will have to address them in particular.
Sure.
And to my children, all young friends out there, प्लीज लिसन केयरफुली. ये एक बहुत ही अच्छा आज का सेशन है आपके लिए. इट्स अ वंडरफुल सेशन, वंडरफुल पैनल. टेक मैक्सिमम एडवांटेज. जिससे आप जितना एडवांटेज ले सकते हो उतना एडवांटेज लेने की कोशिश करो. You can't have better people to talk to you than the one which you have today. So I hope आप सब लोग, you will be all prepared to learn from them, take tips from them, and ask questions without any hesitation. Do not worry. Ask questions whatever you want to know about them. I think we should begin the session with that.
Thank you.
Vinod
Thank you,
ji,
Dilip ji.
take care.
Yeah.
Ji. Yeah.
Thank you, Dilip ji. The format of the session, we'll start with Ravinder Banji. Let me give a little bit more. He is from my same alma mater, REC Srinagar, passed out 1978. And he has been working, started with Crompton Greaves. And I think he ended with Schneider in Middle East. Schneider Electric as Director, Industrial Operations. And since last 2 decades, Ravinderji has been of its own. He has been, he has been on a panel of many international seminars, and he is he is now more into thought leader, a keynote speaker, mentor, trainer. There are a lot of attributes which Ravinderji has on his profile. One of the good things which
those
I
are
saw.
all lies.
One of the good things which I saw Ravinderji is that he has he believes in giving back, and he's a very voluntary, active in getting resources for KMECT, which is a Kashmiri Medical Emergency Trust, where we generate money for the needy among the community. So that's a wonderful thing, Ravinderji, which you're doing. Welcome again to the panel, and thanks for joining us. And Shireen, everybody knows her. Dilipji talked about her a lot. We see her every week on CNBC, but young kids who are not yet seeing the economic channels or CNBC kind of channels would see you today more. But she has interviewed, I think, all the biggest business names in the world, starting from Warren Buffett, Satya Nadella, Richard Branson, whatever name you give, she has interviewed. And she has been, I think in 2019, the latest one, she has been on the 50 most influential women in India for the media, marketing, and advertising for 2019 list. She has a lot of attributes into her. I welcome both of you again, and the floor is yours. We start with Ravinderji, and he will talk for 30 minutes on the entrepreneurship in the KP youth is what Ravinderji will talk about. Over to you, Ravinderji.
नमस्कार, कशिर पर बोलने से हमारा इजाजत?
बिल्कुल महाराज, कशिर पर अगर तो बोलूं सूरज जान, but शिरम सारी शिरमा तैरने फिक्री, but still prefer to be kosher.
It can be a mix because there are a couple of youngsters, those who cannot understand.
Okay, all right. First of all, my profound thanks to the Munch for giving me this honored privilege to be here amongst you all this evening. Seta zyad khushi gayi az toy sarni sitan yaf mawzu's par bolne kadr. आप लोगों के लिए आप लोगों को तहे दिल से मेरा नमन, शुक्रिया। अंजना जी सफाया, मेरी बहन, जिन्होंने मेरे को इसमें आने का आमंत्रित किया मेरे को, और मेरे को ये अवसर प्रदान किया, जिसके माध्यम से मैं आज आपसे बोल रहा हूँ। अंजना जी ने मेरे को पूछा था कि मैंने अंजना जी से पूछा था कि अंजना जी सब्जेक्ट क्या छो, कास पर छो बोलूं। तो दोपन हमारा कोई करीब के पा नहीं डिसाइड एज टू ऑडियंस शेस यूथ। I told her, youth is क्या छो आज, what do they want to hear? What does our youth want to know? What do they want to learn? What do they want to hear from me? Well, Anjana is a very professional organizer, and she told me, no, that you have to decide. So, which kind of took me through a little difficulty, that it's kind of difficult for me to imagine what a 14-year or a 25-year-old young man and woman would want to learn from a 64-year-old person. And how can I really come up to the expectation of that level, which was very tough, but I will do my best. देखिए, जो entrepreneurship mara mozu as man khatri using mich kormut select basically chu bikar aag zakat god kashir pe kay tim chi kashir pe thi zyada relevant agar mara is vichan chi panni background kun panni lokchar kun to aajkal iman locked bachan kun ऐसे हमेशा आप शिकायत रोजान है मैं माल वन में या बन डॉक्टर नत बन इंजीनियर या सोचो गलत ओके तो मानन जो आंसर यू गलत थी मगर आज शेख वजीर पक्ष में बासान शायद मां वो तथ मज गलत कहीं बच बनो एक्सीडेंटली इंजीनियर तो मगर इंजीनियरिंग मर्च में वो 5 वरी ब्रोट the point is that in our childhood or even today and not only in Kashmir in J&K in whole of the country entrepreneurship karke is never taught. You have to become what I call an entrepreneur by force. That means sigasak asun darbedir bache yem sitens to karak business. I'll give a very quick test on this. Can anybody tell me what is the Kashmiri word for entrepreneurship? Some of you will make an attempt. But kaawani tijarat, kaawani bapar, kaawani karobar, ये मन सुना entrepreneurship की है. तो इसलिए कहते हैं इसे expect ही कराएंगे इस बनावा entrepreneur. I say so. We never had never had education on what's entrepreneurship. So that was the background. But what is extremely satisfying is that in the past, if we want to go beyond migration, what has happened to people of Jammu and Kashmir, the youngsters particularly, is that they have become more enterprising. Now, there's a difference between being enterprising and being an entrepreneur. Enterprising in the sense, our youth started thinking beyond engineering, beyond medicine. They went to creative arts, they went to advertising. Shireen, my dear daughter, went to journalism, and they broke the box, and they thought that, hey, we became like that bird who has taken a flight. So that was the enterprise in us. There was a little bit of that enterprise, which in my opinion, did still not convert into entrepreneurship. Well, we do have lot of entrepreneurs, or we do have a lot of business people. But to my mind and to my very, very limited knowledge, in spite of what Vinod said, I'm not as knowledgeable as he described. But to my very limited knowledge, most of us who are in business in the community, be us from Jammu or from Kashmir, we are self-employed. And there's a difference between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur. Self-employed mara such employee asan bichor, magar such asan pansi employee panas. So self-employed is a person who is employed by himself. Now, this lot of us became, but I'm afraid very few of us became entrepreneurs. Now, the short difference between entrepreneur and self-employed is that self-employed employs himself or at the most takes a little bit of help from somebody else. While as usually you should ask an entrepreneur. I'm sure you ask an zorak panis enterprise. Okay, somebody is saying speaker is not audible. All right. Emission asan tita panis panas employee karnish need yuta emission asan to become an employer. So that is one small little difference. Reason why particularly man and women bachan zyada samjhiye baaki entrepreneurship kya chhe tat karo alag pach kat magar emission asan bunisachus ne khali panas employment thanda basachus bei dahan nafran employment deva.
I think we lost him.
Yeah.
Typical, I think, the network problem in Bombay. Bombay Maharaj internet zabardast use asan shayad.
I think you come back. I'll unmute.
Yeah, but there was a disturbance on the internet. Ms. Maharaj, to us unusual, this entrepreneur is the person who creates employment. So his idea is not only to employ himself, his idea is to create entrepreneurship. Now, that is good, and that is what I see happening. And I do see a lot of Kashmiris in the age group of 30 to 45 have taken up a very good flight into entrepreneurship.
If you can stop your video, I think that will give us a better band, you know. Ravinderji? There's some problem with network.
So, I'm sorry.
If you can stop your video, I think that will give us a better bandwidth.
Yeah.
There is some interruptions, which happen.
There are certain myths which go about this entrepreneurship, which I would like my younger people to be aware of before you get into that. I will now share a presentation, and from that I will explain what I am talking about. Just give me a minute, sir. Somebody tell me if you are able to see this. Yeah. I'm not able to see the screen now, so somebody will have to tell me by audio.
No, we have not been able to. You have to do the share screen.
Okay, because this screen becomes a problem. Just give me a minute, please. Technology issues, all of us.
Just share screen and click on that file if you want to.
Host has to enable that.
Just a second.
You have to say share screen, everybody.
I can't see anything.
You go to share screen. It will. You put your cursor there. It will tell you everybody or only you.
It's Virender Bhagji.
No, Sanjay ji, you are sharing your screen. Now say participants can share.
Yeah, I have given you the right, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm there. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you able to see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Some myths which we are told. You see, first thing you will be told that you need a good product. All right, keep that in mind. Second thing will be told that you should start small and then grow big. Then people will tell you that you need a long-term strategy. Then you will be told that you need money. Then some people will tell you you don't need money. Some people will tell you that you need, as an entrepreneur, you need a big vision. Then they will tell you that customer is the most important person in your business. Then they will tell you technology is needed to improve the system. And you will also be told that lower prices will get you higher sales. I need to tell you, my dear friends, that all these are myths. None of these is true. Give me next 10 minutes to tell you how each one of these things is a myth. Agar Mara, if the question was start small and grow big, then this is how I would have began my car. With 3 wheels and 1 wheel can be punctured. Can you ever run a car with one wheel punctured and or one wheel absent and three wheels not present, or three wheels present? The basic thing is that starting an entrepreneur, starting an enterprise, starting a business, there is a certain minimum infrastructure which you will need. Don't be under this impression that he started the business. That's all right. That works in the films. It also works in maybe 5 out of a million cases. But for you, I'm not saying you got to need a big factory, or you need a big shop, or you need 100 people to work under you. But before you start your enterprise, you need to know what is that bare minimum infrastructure that I will need in order to make it run. So that is how it will be. Optimum and not small is the right size at any point of time. So when you start your business, make sure that you know what is the optimum size for my business. Otherwise, what will happen? You will have an unplanned small, and that can mean a bloating big. If it is not planned, this is what will be the result after a few years. Do it right the first time, every time. My very sincere request to my younger friends is, please focus on doing it right on the very first day, and then keep on doing it right. Then you will be told you don't need money. The point is, yes, you will not need money, but I want to know who will pay your bills. As Maharaj Sugar, what happens with most entrepreneurs who get ambitious, we start thinking, oh, I don't need money. You don't need money. You need ideas. You need business. You need products. You need ideas, whatever. But the point is that the monthly milk bill, electricity bill, you see the bills on your right-hand side. Who is going to pay these bills? So whenever you start a business, be aware that it's going to take you some time before the cash starts flowing back. Until then, the cash will start flowing out. Now, if you don't have that cash with you, what happens is frustration after 6 months. Mechuaria friends, but phone karan mara as mara get to finance, kya such a problem, namara boss nokri kara wan karbo business, namara wants business kara wan karbo wapas nokri, kya problem gayi, namara ashe financial problem. Financial problem kya such money was not planned. Okay, so you have to plan that there is a certain amount of money which you will require in order to give it a start. Again, think starting in a garage is fine for books. No matter what the books tell you, monthly bills will be your number one requirement. Don't have money to waste, do not start. Please remember that in your business, you will need a certain amount of money. Now that could be anything. It could be 10,000 rupees, it could be 5,000 rupees. But if it's a part of the plan, you will know what that money is. But if you don't have that money to waste, do not start. There will be a certain amount of waste in the beginning. Then there are people who say, all I need is money. It's such an oxygen aspect. Now, when I go to this, when I go a little deeper, and so they are looking for funding, so they make lines against the banks. But when I go deeper into this, money is not with the banks or investors. Money is with your debtors. Money is with your customers. And what you don't, many times, and I have seen this over many years, many times when people feel that they have a financial need, the actual need is not financial. The actual need is proper business planning or not the right financial discipline being maintained. You need management, not money. Tampatri Envision Toy project as viable when you feel that you have a very viable project and that's going to return. Anybody is ready to invest you. The whole world is ready to invest you, provided you are able to satisfy one question. And that question is, if I myself had 5 lakh rupees, would I put in this? I shouldn't impose partners. But agar main partners 5 lakh rupees asan, butrahayum yak businessman. Yenvistal ka sawal meli jawab, yes, time which you are ready to be funded, anybody will fund you. I don't want to make a public announcement, but I can guarantee you, if any one of you, my children here, any one of you have a viable project where you can convince me that yes, you would put your money if you had your own money, bring it to me. I will see that you get funded. Atmara Shubyak, Mitch Jimchid, Anil Agarwal, such Yaso, scrap dealer, Patbanyavi founder, Keshabai Patel, so detergent powder canan, Ashen, Satrisas, Gautam Adani, so college dropout, as such, Kathan board, Nafarbanum. yim ch mara bad great stories yim parutal varia magar problem ch yim by stories of ch varia startup fail gamut. The reason for that is we start worshipping this. We start worshipping that somebody became from rags to riches, and we tend to believe that rags to riches is a natural outcome of having gone into entrepreneurship. Far from that. Nothing ever happens because you had rags. Natural case. अगर ग्रो चुका उसमें ये प्रॉब्लम ये आपकी बैकग्राउंड का ज्यादा कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. ऑल दीज पीपल whom you have seen here, they have come out of hard work and out of proper the right kind of planning, the right kind of marketing, and the right kind of resources. So vision without a plan is fantasy. I do meet quite a few entrepreneurs who have a great vision, but they have no plan of implementing it. Now that becomes a fantasy. Then you need planning tools, like you need to have a business plan. You need to clear performance targets. You have to tell yourself, what am I going to perform in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 8 months. You have to have an eye for the market detail. You have to be funded, and as I told you, funding will come from the viability of your project. Funding will not come because I took time Harvard. They mara 5 lakh rupees mein business was quite try 5 lakh rupees business. Many business will try to 5 lakh rupees. So to find a term which after such a project is viability. Then you have to know how you are going to sell and market your product. Varia chai se mein friends asen ke mumkin is bichante in zan mano IT business much. Tim ch first class kaam karan tim ch rocket science IT solution code mut. Magar 500 kya se mara ch the shopee sale kya is and when I go and deeper into it, actually marketing planning. Actually koi nahi jai likhe the biggest kankari sale. Important. When you are in business, you have to know how many people you will need and where will these people come from. As a matter of fact, I have a 1 hour session where I tell you that people are the best assets, but people can also be your biggest enemies. Keep also that in mind, because if you don't hire the right people, you could land up in a bigger soup. If you fail to plan, that means you plan banumut fail karuk. Other failure I say in planning tells you failure osmut planned. Because it was very simple one. Other failure was planned, tell you to plan hi karan. Tell you what I might as much is I should fail kar sunna. So other plan karan tell you fail kar sun definite asan. That is about this customer thing. So each one customer says to king, customer says customer mara gets quash rosun. Customer mara next time you want. God bless you want and nafar. When I push to employ whom I have employed, is he skilled? Is he loyal? Is he capable? Is he efficient? Is he competent? Is he able to do it? And if you don't have that, then even your best customers will walk away from you, because you are not going to be meeting with your customers. Your people are going to meet with your customers. Now, if you are a very, very tiny business, the people is you. But then I'm talking when you go a little further, when you will need people. And I can assure you, nothing can ever be started by just a one-man army. Manufacture stories on the books, but actually in real life, but one of I look at long-term strategy. People will ask you, what is your long-term strategy? Now, you all know this guy, right? You all also know the story. What is the long-term strategy he had? In the Miss Mara Sori Gav Kharab Khatam, Patos and Miss Khali Tagan chicken fry karun. Time which was a long-term strategy. So yours I already passed her to war. Agar aisa sab as the paya one mokla wanga retire kasun karo kunjai bhagwat chuhun nawa pawa. He did not do that. He wanted, he had determination. He was persuasive. He said, I am going to do it. The age is not coming in my way. So long-term vision is good. But as a small business, you have to focus on today. And you have to be flexible to change your strategy. This guy changed 8 businesses, right? So be ready to change your strategy. It's good to have strategic planning, etc. For the multinationals, it works a lot. But for a very small business, focus on today. How are you going to survive? How are you going to grow? Eye on tomorrow, but focus on today. Then there comes technology. All right, you see all these technology things. You see, a lot of people will tell you that technology is important, or technology is good. My request to you is, technology is not good. Technology is a must. If today in your business you do not build technology, whether it's for marketing, whether it's for manufacturing, whether it's for giving services, whether it's for communication, like you are seeing a live example now, I got interrupted 4 times because the technology didn't support me. So the point is, technology is not just a good to have. It's not a feel good. It is an absolute essential. You will be in the back row if you are not driven by technology. So that has to be kept very clearly in mind. So technology has to be right from day one, because if not you, your competitor is having that technology and he is driving everything via technology. So he will throw you out. So like in our childhood, I could pick up my bag and go from Jamshedpur to Delhi to Calcutta to Madras, taking trains, flights, whatever. These days you don't need to do all that. You just fix a video call, or fix up a digital marketing platform. Now, instead of when I was going from Calcutta to Delhi, I was meeting maybe 2 or 3 clients. Today, through one digital marketing platform, I'm able to meet 1 million people. So that is the leverage. Youngsters, please. Technology should be your major basic driver. It's not an option, it's a survival. This is for those people who have been in business for 4 or 5 years. Sometimes with all going fine, sometimes businesses fail. And let us not shy away from that. There are businesses which fail sometimes, but you not also business business. Please don't fall under that. Their businesses can fail. There's no problem. You must know what is your exit. You must know, agar your business may fail, ask is to exit karo. How do I avoid being in the list of these failures? What can be my possible reasons for failure? Help is available. There are so many experts sitting here, much better than I am, who will tell you what could be the possible failures. So you must know what are the various reasons because of which you could fail. And things can go wrong without your knowledge. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि आपको पता ही नहीं चलेगा कि आपके पास में से बहुत सी चीजें गलत हो सकती है. People who could help you could fail you. Waaraan verken dochtid. Suitcase minus must have Devantich. Deal with occasional failures. Agar you lock out failures, don't worry about it. It will pass. But if it's a major failure, keep note. Learn from the mistakes, or simply, my dear friends, quit. It doesn't make sense. And enjoy your defeat. If you are forced to do it, convert it to success. Start afresh. Do something new. Do something enterprise. And I'll tell you, honestly, agar bilkul chun ke chalan, go find a job. Fine. That is also not right, because ultimately you want the welfare of yourself, you want the welfare of your family, you want the welfare of the society. Identify the reasons for possible failure. But should failure be absolutely beyond redemption, that time, do not hesitate in exiting. If it's time, do not delay, quit and be happy.
Then you will know. 4 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Last point, Maharashtra, we many times feel that we have a good product and we can sell that. That is a myth. Products do not sell. What sells is solutions. And if you want to know what is meant by solutions, we can have a separate session. I'll be very happy to do that for you. Delta 4 is a slightly longer concept. I will take that later on. So I'll come back, start right, first time, every time. Be a Delta 4, be a 4 times better solution than your competitors. Do not ignore money, but analyze money needs. Use tools, not gut feeling. Eye on future, but focus on today. Price will put you down. Do not fall for lower prices. People are your best strategy. Technology adoption is unavoidable. Quit if you and when you must. Thank you very much. With that, I'll close the presentation part of it, and I will hand this to, I suppose we're going to take questions after this. I'm willing to take them now, but I suppose I'll not be good to Shireen if I don't hand it to her immediately.
After Shireen.
Yeah,
So we'll have
questions,
because, yeah, please, Vinod.
So we'll have questions after Shireen talks. Shireen, the floor is yours. Welcome again, and let's hear from you.
I'm all yours after that.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and it's nice to see that I'm following another Bhan. It's not usually the case, so this is a good evening to be following another Bhan. I think.
In fact, we wanted to have one Manoj Bhan also as
that would have been too many Bhans.
Oh, we wanted him to assist Vinod. So anyway, so.
I think you can take us in small doses, but I think what we just heard there from Mr. Bhan was a very lucid and a very comprehensive grid or a matrix of what are the things that one should keep in mind while looking at getting into the journey of entrepreneurship. And I'm just going to share with you my thoughts and my views on entrepreneurship, on business, and on people who take the risk to actually go out there and start their own venture. And this is based on my observation over the last 19 years of tracking business news in India. Just to tell you a little bit about myself before I get into that. I started in this business 19 years ago, and as Mr. Bhan was saying, that as Kashmiris, we've always grown up with the idea of either becoming a doctor or an engineer. And I have to say that I was very fortunate that I had parents who didn't force us to think that way. My father was in the Indian Air Force. He retired as a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force after having commanded the Eastern Air Command. And so every 2 years, we packed up and we moved homes and we changed schools and we made new friends and we started life afresh. And that, to my mind, brings me to the first principle that I believe is crucial to success in anything that you do in life, whether that's a business venture, that's a job, or it's a relationship. And that, I think, is the ability to adapt. I think adaptability is often underrated, but it is something that we must learn and inculcate in ourselves as something that is crucial for our survival and for our well-being. And that is what changing schools, moving every 2 years taught me, is that we cannot and we should not take life for granted. Because you'd be class monitor somewhere, you'd be the prefect somewhere, and then suddenly in 2 years, you'd have to pick up your things and start afresh, prove yourself all over again. And so I have firmly believed in the entrepreneurs that I've interviewed over the last 19 years. This is the other principle that I firmly believe helps you build careers and helps you build businesses that stand the test of time. And that is the ability to be flexible and the ability to have the resilience to make those changes and the agility to be able to make changes. We're living in very volatile times. I mean, we're dealing with the COVID crisis today, not just in India, but world over. And if you look at what is happening in the business world, outside of companies that have strong balance sheets or have strong businesses and have spent time in building strong brands, the other companies are struggling to survive. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about creating brands that stand for something. It's about creating a business that addresses a problem. It's about focusing on an issue that provides a solution to the consumer or the customer. And at the end of the day, again, not enough emphasis is portrayed on one of these issues, which I believe, especially in India, is differentiation. We focus too much on we should be better than so-and-so, we should be better than the competition. We don't focus enough on how are we different from the competition, or how are we different from our competitor. And I think that is very, very crucial, especially as you move into commoditized markets. And, Mr. Bhatt was talking about technology. You keep hearing this, and I hear it so often. When will India have its own Google? When will India have its next Facebook? Why are we talking about India having its next Facebook? There is already a Facebook. We have to think about an alternative to Facebook. What will be different from the Indian consumer? Because if they wanted to log on to Facebook, they already have access to Facebook. So the question is, how do you create a product, a solution that is different from what is already existing in the marketplace? And I think it's very crucial to find your niche, and profit is very often in the niches. I think that is absolutely crucial and something that we must focus on. Again, something that I'm hearing and seeing a lot of in the last few years, and now with the Prime Minister talking about self-reliance and so on and so forth, this is not a new idea. I mean, Pandit Nehru built a lot of our modern institutions on the idea of self-reliance. So what are we talking about? We are talking about Indian companies, Indian businesses creating value by moving up the value chain, which means that you have to focus on innovation, which means you have to spend on innovation, which means you have to ensure that you put the right resources in place to ensure that your company is delivering value on that metric. And that is, again, something that we very often don't do enough of. We have great capability. Let's use the example of the pharmaceutical industry in India. We are the generics manufacturer of the world. We supply to every country in the world when it comes to generics. But so far, we have not been able to create a drug that is an Indian-made drug. We do a lot of repurposing. But why is it that we haven't been able to innovate and create an Indian drug that is commercially viable? And it goes back to focusing on moving up the innovation thing and not being happy to just be contract manufacturers. Yes, there is value in contract manufacturing, but we now need to move up the value chain, spending more money on that, forging partnerships, forging collaborations that give us the capabilities that we may not necessarily have. And there's no shame in that. Most businesses that I have seen that have been able to survive volatility in the marketplace and have been able to grow have done that on the back of smart collaborations. Today, we're living in a world where Apple and Microsoft are collaborating with one another. So there is no shame in collaboration. I think one of the rules that I've learned in tracking successful business entrepreneurs in the last 19 years is ego has no place in designing or devising your business strategy. Leave that outside. Let it be data-driven. Let it be data-oriented. My mentor is the founder, chairman of Infosys, Mr. N.R. Narayanamurthy, and there are several things that he has taught me over the last, decade or so that I've been interviewing him. And it was very clear, the two things that I will share with you that I personally take very seriously. He said, in every organization believes in having a culture of communication, a culture which encourages ideas, opinions, a culture where which is democratic, where you have people. There is dissent and there is difference, but at the end of the day, there has to be a decision that has to be taken. Democracy cannot mean paralysis of decision making, and hence you have to design a way of being able to draw from the best ideas and make a decision, and not just keep going around in circles searching for ideas from everyone and ensuring that there is consensus. So I think that is very crucial. The other thing that he taught me, which again I believe is very important, and he said, and I think this is an issue that Indian businesses often suffer from, which is there is not enough emphasis on good corporate governance. And he said, whenever there is doubt, disclose. Whenever there is difficulty, disclose. It's a wonderful quote from him, which I always remember. He said, let the good news take the stairs and let the bad news take the elevator. Very often in India, what we have seen is that when businesses go through trying times or tough times, and everybody does, up cycles and down cycles are part of any business dealing. Very often in good times, we talk about our achievements, we talk about our successes, but when we're faced with bad times, we choose not to speak about them either internally or externally. So internally, the organization very often doesn't know what's going on. And externally, you try and put up a front, which later on comes back to hurt you as opposed to help you. And that, I believe, is essential as far as good corporate governance is concerned, that you must be transparent about what your purpose is. You must be transparent about what your objective is, internally as well as externally. There are many things that I've learned from people that I've interviewed. Warren Buffett is somebody of the Oracle of Omaha, has gone on to invest in so many businesses over the last so many decades. And we all know the story of Berkshire Hathaway. And I think one of the things, again, that he told me, which is stuck in my head, is that when you're building something, you're building it for the long term. It is not, the decisions that you take today are not decisions that you should think about from a 15-day perspective or a 1-month perspective or a 1-year perspective. You have to think about the decisions that you take today and what they could mean for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years. What is the sort of company that you want to build? What is the kind of workplace that you want to build? What is the kind of culture that you want to create? And I think these are all very important if you want to build a long-lasting career and you want to build companies to last. Mr. Bhatt talked about money, and you know what we are seeing today across India, especially when we talk to startups, is there's a lot of money chasing the few good startups that we have. And when you have that kind of capital that comes your way, it's easy money, because at this point in time, you're basically discounting your way through business, and you're not really focusing on unit economics. But remember, there is no free lunch. At some point, the checks will stop coming. So you have to ensure that when the going is good, that is when you put your model in place. That is when you focus on getting your unit economics right. That is when you decide what your road to profitability is, because you cannot continue to live off on capital that comes in from venture capitalists, because at some point in time, it will dry up. So go back to the basics and think about what is it that you're creating, how you're going to make money, and how do you continue to make money. Something that I've learned during these COVID times, as people are trying to understand what they do with their businesses, especially the businesses that are seeing a lot of dislocation and a lot of disruption, hospitality, aviation, and so on and so forth, where the revenues have just gone to zero since the lockdown started. So how do you make a pivot? How do you transform yourself? How do you transition? A lot of companies are now looking at moving to digital. So for instance, fitness companies who were in the business of running gyms, etc. Gyms are shut. We don't know when they're going to open. So what do you do? How do you reach out to your customer? How do you ensure that there is some light at the end of the tunnel? So if you see now with companies like Cult, etc., who are startups who entered the health and wellness space, a short while ago and raised a lot of capital, they're now all moving online. They're doing, fitness classes online. So it also means that you have to look at your changing environment. You cannot be a prisoner of your circumstance. You have to see how you can make a pivot, how you can reinvent yourself, how you can transition to the changing times. And I think that is what good entrepreneurs are about, and that's what differentiates a good entrepreneur who is going to build a business to last versus an entrepreneur who's doing it in the short term and for the short term. I think there is something that I've learned from people that I have observed, and we very often try and limit our aspiration. And while it's good to stay focused on what you intend to do with your business in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, I think it's also very important to try and see that, with the access of technology, with the way that the world is today, that you don't limit yourself to a particular market. That if you have a product or a service that has the ability to go global, use technology, leverage technology, build a truly world-class product or a world-class service and go global. In fact, we're seeing a lot of young Indian entrepreneurs who are successfully doing that in areas like the SaaS business, which is the software as a service business, or in the gaming business, which is booming at this point in time, or the distance education business. Companies like Byju's, which have been started here in India, but have created a business model and created, content and created a company that has the ability to go global. And so they're all now looking at how to transition from India and go global. So the point that I'm trying to make also is that while you start in a market that you're familiar with, in a market where you're hoping to solve a problem. Also think about where else you can take that product and solution and try and build moats around your company and try and build bridges around your company to ensure that you can actually do that. You know, I've been running CNBC TV 18 for the last decade or so, and it's a classic example of how you build brands that stand the test of time. We've had a very clear purpose, and I think as good entrepreneurs, it's very, very crucial for us to be able to identify our clear purpose. Our purpose was always to be business news specialists. Our purpose was always to be the first in business news worldwide. And with that purpose, we have built our team, we have built our programming, we have structured the way that we operate, and it all starts from there because our purpose has been clear. And then it comes down to how do you stay true to that purpose? How do you continue to reinforce that message to the consumer? How do you expand the market that you're addressing? For instance, when we started 19 years ago, it was largely seen as a stock market channel, which was focusing on what the markets did between 9 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But over the last 10 years, we have dramatically expanded the way that people look at business news in India. Today, we have the longest running show on startups and entrepreneurship anywhere in the world. It's my show. It's called Young Turks. It's turned 18. And because we provided a platform, we created a community of startup and young entrepreneurs in India. It was different. It was new. Nobody else was doing it. We were the first. We had the first mover advantage, and we continue to build on that. So if you don't have the first mover advantage, then you have to make sure that at least you have the differentiation and a key differentiation to make a niche in the marketplace. We've also reached out to somebody's asking me, why is it called Young Turks? Well, it's called Young Turks because it was a catchy name when we started it 18 years ago. And we really wanted to sort of, the idea was to focus on first generation entrepreneurs and focus on people who didn't come from family businesses, etc., and who had really, when we started the show at that point in time, it was a very different India where failure was stigmatized, where, risk taking was not a good idea. The best thing for anybody, the best aspiration for anybody was to get, a job at Goldman Sachs or in investment banking, or, if you were not going the medicine or the engineering route, nobody was really thinking of creating businesses. And that is why the Young Turks came about, because it was really about putting the spotlight on people who were risk takers, who were passionate about wanting to do something, create something. So that was the story behind the name. We started it thinking that, we won't find people beyond 13 episodes. But as I said, it's today the world's longest running show on young entrepreneurs. It's turned 18. It's also a book which we published. Random House published the book. So that's the story of Young Turks. But that's the point that I was trying to make, that you have to ensure that you have something that you offer that nobody else does, and you have to continue to reinforce that message in a meaningful way so that the audience that you're reaching out to, the consumer that you're reaching out to, doesn't feel the need to go anywhere else. Don't take your consumer for granted. I don't take my viewer or my reader for granted. And the same way, businesses shouldn't take their consumers for granted. It's this lip service that we do to consumer being the king and consumer being at the heart of the business and so on and so forth. It's meaningless unless you actually ensure that everything that you do within the organization is focused on that. How do you improve customer retention, not just customer acquisition? Businesses are very focused on customer acquisition, but not very focused on customer retention. I think an equal amount of time needs to be spent on customer retention as much as we do on customer acquisition. And now with technology, as Mr. Bhatt was pointing out, the cost of being able to do that has come down quite significantly. The threshold to be able to do that has come down quite significantly. So we need to rewire our businesses to ensure that the engagement with the customer is consistent, that the engagement with the customer is transparent, that we vocalize and we listen. We vocalize what we want to say to the customer, but we also listen and hear what the customer is saying to us and incorporate that into how we operate our businesses and our service. So those are some of the things that I have learned over the course of the last 19 years. And, honestly, I think integrity, not taking shortcuts, doing the right thing for the people that you work with, teamwork, I think those are just, first principles that you have to stand for and you have to stand by. The easy thing to do is to and I see this today with a lot of people, a lot of CEOs have decided that, look, times are tough, but we will, if we're doing salary cuts across the organization, we will also ensure that we take the largest cut because you're getting paid the most. So it would be appalling to my mind if today a CEO who was taking home 10-15 crore rupees were to, order a 10 to 15% cut across the board and not take a pay cut himself. I think, you have to lead by example. And at the end of the day, I think whether it's business leaders or us as people, as individuals, I think we have to have empathy. I think, we've lost the ability to listen to each other. We have lost the ability to accommodate different points of view, and we have lost empathy. I think that's very, very crucial. Entrepreneurs must have tough stomachs, but they must also have large hearts. And that is something that I firmly believe in. And that is what I have learned from the very, very successful entrepreneurs who have had the privilege and the pleasure of interviewing over the last 19 years. So I will leave it there. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take.
Thank you, Shireen. Wonderful. I think both Mr. Ban and both Bans, Shireen Ban and Rabinder Ban, talked about one common point. One was leveraging technology. I think that's something which they emphasized on in the businesses. And if I take one from Mr. Ban, one good thing Mr. Ban has openly said to everybody who's here at the panel and listening on Facebook, that he is open to all the ideas the KP entrepreneurs have, and if they have a right viable business plan, Mr. Ban, they can approach, and he will organize and help. So he has given a very nice open invitation to all young entrepreneurs out here. And the second takeaway, I think Shireen talked about corporate world. We have kids here. I was just trying to synchronize the two parts of the corporate world: integrity, teamwork, and shortcuts. We should not do it. I think the kids who are listening here should also take it that when they go to corporate, it's same rules but in a different environment. The family is a small corporate. One can look at from that perspective. So there are no shortcuts. There's integrity is mandatory, and then teamwork. Teamwork means working with the family, working with your creating a team of your friends. It's the teamwork which makes you win. So I think wonderful sessions. Thank you, Shireen, and thank you, Rabinderji, for very interesting talk. The floor is open for questions. Anyone who raises a hand, we
Rajinder Kohl, who wants to ask a question.
Yeah, Mr. Rajinder Kohl.
Shall I unmute him?
Yeah.
Rajinder ji, please go ahead. You need to unmute yourself.
Yes, Rajinder ji, you can ask the question.
Don't think he can hear us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are not hearing him. I don't think we have the WhatsApp in this Facebook.
Vivek Rana. Vivek, please go ahead.
हेलो,
Yeah.
नमस्कार सारनी। मेरा क्वेश्चन रविंद्र बान जी से है। जैसे आपने बिजनेस के बारे में बताया हमें, क्या सच में मतलब जॉब स्विच साइड बाय साइड के बिजनेस स्टार्ट करे, इज गुड और बैड?
Somebody has to unmute me.
I have already done that.
Thank you. मारा अगर तो एक फास्ट झूठ जवाब बकार तो अगर मैं 3 घंटा अगर तो एक छोट जवाब चुप करना शिरीन जी उसमें बनान इंटेग्रिटी अच्छा बिजनेस करें कि ना अच्छी नौकरी करें ये गैस इंटेग्रिटी गॉड दिख दो आते यूजुअली इसकी सोचान चुमान कर शाम ने इसकी बात कर
we lose him often.
हेलो,
We lost him in between. We can have any other question?
Ashwini, call. Ashwini, please go ahead. Ashwini, do you have unmute?
Yeah, hello, sir. Yeah, hello.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to ask a question from Ban, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, normally we are thinking, many times thought comes in our mind that we should start a business or we should start something of our own. So, but normally by thinking like that, there are a lot of ideas which are normally coming in our mind day to day or monthly or yearly. But there are always a risk in starting a business. Suppose right now I'm doing a job from past 10 years. There was an idea in my mind that I should do some startup business. But there always a risk in my mind that if I will start something and if I leave my job, there is always risk. So my question to Bon sir is that when we should decide this point, that when we will start, when we are ready. So
अश्विनी जी इंग्लिश में बोलूं कश्मीरी में बोलूं?
सर जैसे आप चाहिए.
Okay. All right. Let me talk in English for the benefit of everybody else. Well, my dear friend, the answer is very simple. When you should start your business and leave your job will depend upon जो आपको आइडिया आया है वो आइडिया कितना स्ट्रांग है, वो कितना वायबल है. जो चीज आपको रोक रही है, आपको ये रोक रहा है कि आपका जो आइडिया है वो आइडिया आपको अपने आप को ही इतना स्ट्रांग नहीं लग रहा है कि आप उसके ऊपर अपना रिस्क ले पाए. सो please go and dig into that idea and find out whether that idea is really viable. And viability is not decided by हाँ आंसर में एक बात है हाँ करीब कैशन फिकर भगवती कर खेक बिजनेस भगवती करान क्या बिजनेस तो पान करें. सो तो वुचन मेन इज एन आइडिया पे कैलकुलेट करो तब वुचन अत इन्वेस्टमेंट अमस रिटर्न अत टाइम लगे यम दो तथ चीजस पे कन्विंस गो तो त्रो पान नौकरी.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर.
प्लेजर.
A question from Bhupendra Pandita.
हेलो.
Yeah.
हाँ नमस्कार मारा. मेन क्वेश्चन बान सबस. हेलो. हाँ बान सबस मारा लॉकड मोकड़ मतलब मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट चलाओ फॉर लास्ट 4 years.
हाँ
मैं वन तो आख तय वनु तुहन इस प्रेजेंटेशन हो बट असल होस और आख क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजन है. आपने ये बोला कि लो प्राइसिंग कभी भी मत करो आप.
मुझे मेरा आख चीज कथान
ना मेन क्वेश्चन छु इसके कि अगर न यात मार्केटस में इस वुनकनस अगर न लो प्राइसिंग करो कि तो इससे हेको नु सर्वाइव करित कि कि सोन कंपटीटर लो प्राइस पे करना तथ क्या करो?
Okay, I will tell you. I'll give you the answer. Number one, let me keep this current situation slightly away. I'll deal with that a little later. First, let us look at price. How does the customer pay? Which mara ische anan kundo chase havan HMT each girl. So chase milan 2,000 rupiah. But chase kundo gathan ische havan Rolex girl. So milan 2,00,000 rupiah. One pay the Miss Rolex valis kani girl 2,000 kena HMT valis price kani 2,00,000. Customer mara chu value divan. Customer to price divan so using this value to basta. Agar to panis product is value chu. Agar to basan cha ata se ke cheese. Imzan meanis competitors chin. Tell guys to competitor panay out. Mother, Tasman Shubuchun, Yimcha meanis customers bakar. You might have the very best product with the best functions and best features. But if they are not relevant to your customer, it doesn't matter. So you have to calculate what is the value for the customer. Lowering the price, in my opinion, for the sake of lowering the price and for the sake of competition is degenerative. Tamsitin Chugasan ye, Toshubana, like what Shireen was saying, you are becoming like him. Toshuban, you have to improve your product and give them. But once you market price, pan product market, find out operating cost, operating price cash market, misha product layak. तो आज किस कहने में प्राइसिंग करें प्राइस वाल में से छन सेल बढ़ान के याग गारंटी दे ना कि प्राइस खार ने से सेल बढ़ा वन गो मिशन पता तो क्या तो एग्जैक्ट प्रोडक्ट में वन नंबर है कि तो इन्हें विचार मंच पे तो एक मैं फोन करे तो को तो वने क्या इसके बाकन में करो इस
हमारा फर्नीचर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहा
But after so 1-to-1 advise this so I can pricing करें in general
sir I would take advice sir.
Pleasure. In general, pricing is not lowering your price is not a way to success.
Sure. Thank you.
Akshay Pandita.
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So thank you very much for organizing this. It was a very great session. So my question to Shireen. So I want to mention that I'm a very avid watcher of Indianomics and her show every day. It's a splendid show. And I had queries around the larger conversations that are happening nowadays. One is post-COVID world. Is there a change with respect to sectors or startups in general, or it's more of an exaggeration that the world is going to change? And secondly, about the accessibility of funding. So especially what is happening with respect to China, and we know a lot of startups are actually accessing funding from there. Is there going to be challenges which startups will have in that area? Thank you.
So let me address the second question first. And by the way, thank you very much for watching our shows. It makes what we do worthwhile. So yes, I think access to funding is going to be a challenge. And will be a challenge at least through the course of this year. I think the point that you raise about China is also going to be an interesting one, because let's remember, while there's a lot of this rhetoric that's being ratcheted up in social media and public sentiment and so on and so forth, but the reality is that when you look at Indian startups, a large majority of them have got a significant amount of funding from China. And despite all of this talk about unlocking domestic pools of capital in India and providing access to capital to Indian startups of Indian capital, it hasn't happened. And so we might end up actually hurting ourselves and axing our own feet. So we need to do this judiciously as opposed to doing this in a very knee-jerk way. So yes, funding I think is going to be a challenge for startups going forward. In fact, there are several surveys, including one done by NASSCOM recently, which says that most startups are dealing with a runway of about 3 to 6 months when it comes to funding. And which is why it comes back to what I said, that, startups must focus on unit economics, and the ones that are sitting with relatively stronger balance sheets today and actual business models are the ones who will probably be able to ride through the storm and ride out this storm. On your first question, on, what is going to change post-COVID? And I think, that there's always a situation when you're going through a setback or you're seeing a big dislocation, you imagine that the world will change forever. The last crisis of this kind, which was largely a financial crisis, there was no medical crisis, was the 2008 financial crisis. And again, everybody said the world will change and, it's the end of capitalism as we know it and so on and so forth. I think it's a bit premature to extrapolate what will change. Will work from home become a reality and a much more real thing that companies are going to have to deal with? I truly believe so. Will it dislocate a lot of businesses like hospitality and aviation in the near term? I believe that will certainly be the case. But I think it's a little premature to extrapolate that, the world is going to change forever, because let's remember, we have dealt with health problems and health crises in the past, whether it was SARS or AIDS or Ebola, and of course the magnitude was very different. But as and when there is a medical breakthrough to the COVID problem as well, I think a lot of the fear and the paralysis linked to the fear and a lot of the behavioral change that we're currently seeing may change post that. So I think it's still early days, but yes, I think there are going to be some businesses that will see a fundamental disruption.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We have Anjana Safaya. She's a question.
Hello.
Anjana ji, you're audible.
Hanji, I am audible.
Yes.
Actually, my daughter have a question.
Yeah.
Namaskar. My question is for Shireen ma'am. I want to ask that I am in class 9th right now, and what subject I should pursue and what I want to pursue journalism after 12th. So what I need to do for the preparation of the journalism course.
Let me ask
and
you.
What are the best colleges for journalism?
Okay, I think you're very young to decide at this point in time that journalism is what you want to do. I would say be open to the idea of wanting to pursue journalism, but also keep your ears and eyes open. You might come up with something entirely different. I'll give you my own example. When I was in class 9 and I was preparing for my class 10th boards, I was very clear I wanted to be a doctor like half of my family. And in fact, after my class 10th boards, I interned with my aunt, who's a doctor. And I walked into the operation theater with her one day, and I saw her operating on a patient. And the first sight of blood, I passed out. And then I realized that medicine was clearly not for me. And so I gave up on the idea that I always had, that I'm going to do medicine and I'm going to become a doctor. And that's how I found journalism. So my advice to you to start with is, don't be fixated on an idea right now. Be open, keep your mind open, look at things, observe things, read as much as you possibly can. And finally, if you decide to do journalism, there's a lot of good colleges. LSR has a good journalism course. There's Gargi College, IP. There's a lot of colleges in Delhi that have journalism courses. You could also look at doing your journalism as a master's degree. There's Xavier's in Bombay. There's the college that I went to in Pune that offers a master's degree in journalism. So those are options that are available for you both for graduation as well as post-graduation. My advice to you is that journalism is a hard business, like most businesses, but this one is particularly hard because there's no, like medicine, etc., there is no concept of time. I start my day some days at 7 o'clock in the morning and I finish at 7 o'clock the next morning. So, you have to be ready to do long hours. You have to be ready to sacrifice a lot of your personal time. There will be days when, like, for instance, through this COVID period, I'm not working from home. I've been going into the studio every single day. So you're an essential service. So you have to be ready to take that kind of risk and challenge. There'll be days when you'll be asked to go to do war reporting. There'll be days when you have to go in COVID times and work and report. So you have to be prepared for a life which is unpredictable, a life that is exciting but also has its challenges. So read as much as possible, read credible news from credible brands, both national as well as international, and keep an open mind. That the biggest lesson for a good journalist is to always be curious and to always want to learn more. And I think that is basically something that I've always tried to do.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Best of luck.
We have a question from Kalhan Safaya. Kalhan, you can ask a question. Kalhan?
Namaskar. Namaskar, sir. Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I have two questions basically, if that's possible in any way.
Please go ahead.
Okay. So, the first ever question is the basic thing about journalism is that the basic thing about journalistic ethic is a legal phrase called audi alteram partem, right? Which roughly or even literally in some senses translates to the fact that one must also pay heed to the other side of the situation. So, given that the news channels in today's day and age form their opinions on the basis of narratives which suit their ideology as a person of disregard, all right? So, I want to ask this question to ma'am that what do you have to say situation?
Okay, your voice was breaking, but I think I got the point that you were making. I think, what is happening in India today, and we're seeing it happen, world over as well, is that journalists or media organizations seem to be taking positions. I think the only position that good journalists and good media organizations need to take is to be on the right side of the fact. We're not on the left side of the narrative or the right side of the narrative. We always have to be on the right side of the facts. That is how I run my newsroom, and that is how I continue to believe that good media organizations will run their newsrooms. You have to ensure that you have the rigor of verifying information, of only putting out credible information, of standing by the information that you put out, of giving the if you're doing a story, of trying to understand what the other side may be. I think what we're seeing in India today is the curse of the single story or the single narrative, and it's across the board. And I think that does a disservice not just to the consumer and to the audience, but it does a disservice to the media industry as well, and which is probably why we're seeing a lot of people tuning out of mainstream media, because there's a very there is a narrative which is one-sided, and that's the perils of the kind of journalism that we're seeing today. So I don't believe in taking forward a single story. I believe that journalists always must stand with facts, and that is how I'm driving our newsroom today. And we continue to be market leaders, so I would imagine that it stands for something.
Okay. Thank you. We have a question from Chavi. She's a young girl. Chavi? Yeah.
Namaskar, Sani. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so, Namaskar. My name is Chavi Kaur, and I have a question from Ravinder ji. So, the question is that how can we make our product, or how we can target our customers a way different, way better than our other competitors?
Ravinder Banji, I think. Yeah, now you're audible, Ravinder ji.
Yeah, fine. Chavi beta, what I could understand is that how do you make yourself better than the competitor? Am I right? Is that your question?
Yes, how we can make it more differently.
Okay, differently. See, you have to understand one thing. Don't look at your competitor पहले आप अपने कस्टमर को समझो, उसको देखो कि उसको क्या चाहिए. कई बार ऐसा भी होता है कि कस्टमर को खुद नहीं पता होता है कि मुझे क्या चाहिए, तो आपको उस कस्टमर को थोड़ा रिसर्च करना पड़ेगा कि इसको एक्चुअली क्या चाहिए. वो एक चीज बोलेगा मुझे चाहिए, लेकिन जब आप ऑनेस्टली ये देख लोगे कि उसको क्या चाहिए, तो आप अपना प्रोडक्ट वो बना दो जो उसकी एग्जैक्ट नीड का सोल्यूशन होगा. ठीक है, तब जाके आप कॉम्पिटिटर को देखो. आपका बिजनेस कॉम्पिटिटर के पास नहीं है, ना ही आपकी सक्सेस उसके पास है, ना ही आपका फेलियर उसके पास है। आपकी सक्सेस और आपका फेलियर आपके कस्टमर के पास है। आप समझो कि उसको क्या चाहिए, उस हिसाब से अपना प्रोडक्ट बना दो, और फिर अपने प्रोडक्ट को देखो कि भाई एक कस्टमर तो मिल गया, बट इसमें कितने मिनिमम कस्टमर्स चाहिए जिनको ये चाहिए होगा, सो दैट यू विल नो व्हाट इज द वॉल्यूम दैट यू विल बी एबल टू डू। नहीं तो आप कॉम्पिटिटर को फॉलो करते करते रहोगे, जैसे शरीर ने बता दिया, एक दिन आप नीचे चले जाओगे। बिकॉज आज मान लो आपने अपने प्रोडक्ट में 1 लाख रुपया डाल दिया, कॉम्पिटिटर जाके 10 लाख रुपया डाल लेगा, तो आप पीछे चले गए। उससे अच्छा ये होता है कि आप अपने कस्टमर को देखो, वहां पर देखो कि उसको क्या नीड है और उसकी नीड को मैं कैसे सॉल्व कर पाऊं। आप ऑलरेडी बिजनेस में हो, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहे हो, या प्लान है?
ये अभी पढ़ रही है क्लास स्कूल में और बिजनेस वुमन बनना चाहती है।
बिल्कुल बनाना चाहिए। इनफैक्ट वी आर एट इंडिया SME फोरम, आई थिंक विनोद मस्ट बी वाचिंग मी।
She's a versatile girl. She, participates in most of our, programs. She sings well. She dances well. She,
I think I saw her dance.
Competes in quiz competitions. She's a very
one thing which I would like to mention to her and all my other children here is that the problem is that we so far did not have any formal education in entrepreneurship. India SME Forum, of which I am a member, and Vinod, I think, is watching. We are going to, and we have already started a regular mainstream entrepreneurship course right from school, because वो जो entrepreneur mindset होता है वो स्कूल में ही build होना चाहिए। ठीक है? So for that you can contact me later on. I'll tell you how and when that course is done. I'm very glad that we have an entrepreneur at this age. That's extremely satisfying to note.
We have a question from Neeraj Pandita. Neeraj ji, you can ask the question.
Hi, good evening everyone. My question is to Shireen. I was listening to you. Yes, for example, you were talking about differentiation and innovation. Yes, rightly said. But my question to you is, for example, if you're in a manufacturing sector and you have
possible, you can also, open your video. Switch on your video.
Unfortunately, some problem with my computer. I'm not able to.
Okay, no issues. Please go ahead.
So, especially for the manufacturing sector, if you have a good idea and you want to be innovative and have a differentiation product also, but to go to the venture capitalist also to show you what you can do and what you have in mind, you need a decent amount of investment in manufacturing, basically. And we Kashmiris, we are not a business-minded. We were not a business-minded. We are going in this direction. And we don't have this great support in the finances and financials. So what is your advice to the young entrepreneurs of Kashmir who would like to go in the manufacturing sector with different ideas? Of course, they have to be differentiator as well as a nice innovative product. So what do you suggest them? What way they should go so that they won't be successful in this path?
Well, I think, whether it's manufacturing or services, you have to, again, as we both Mr. Bhan and I were pointing out, that you have to be very clear about who your customer is, what is the pain point that you're hoping to address, how do you address that pain point with the product or the service that you're going to be building. Access to capital is a problem for most people. I don't think it's a Kashmir specific or a Kashmiri specific challenge. I think everyone faces that. So I think what you should do is basically tap into the networks. Mr. Bhan spoke about the SME Association. There are many such associations. There's TIE, there's NASCOM. There's a lot of these associations and organizations that you can tap into those networks as and when you are actually ready with something that you can talk about or showcase. So there are many of these forums where you can get the opportunity to meet with VCs, etc. But I think you have to be very clear about what your market is, who your customer is, and how you intend to address that market and customer with your product. And I want to emphasize, and I'm glad that Mr. Bhan spoke about that, price cannot be a strategy. Because tomorrow there's somebody else who'll come in with bigger pockets. I mean, look at what's happening in e-commerce, for instance. And Amazon can drop prices without having to worry about being in business, and it'll take out its nearest competitor without flinching an eyelid. So price can't be a strategy. You have to have much more than price to take you forward. And you must build on what those essential features are of your product, etc., that your customer will want and your customer is willing to pay for. And again, to the point that Mr. Bhan was making, it's not what your competition can do. It is what your competition allows you to do. So focus on what that market that you're hoping to get into, what is the relevance of your product and service, and then build it accordingly. So don't focus so much on what your competition will allow you to do. And again, don't focus your strategy only on price.
Thank you. We have Anil.
I want to give a very short supplement to that. Neeraj ji was asking that question. Nambrak Maharaj, you cut into the Kashmiri spice Karun Yarna Karun. You cut the pan mind mas never. Kashmiri Tatsun Tadran Unika Dafa Trata Satatya Trata Shusta. Kashmiri cut never. You want to be a manufacturer? Become a manufacturer. Doim katwan with them, capital bakar, especially Kursan capital. Become a Kursan capital. Kursan tiji capital. You can't capital Kursan Nishiani, but my race is tiji capital. You have to make your project. You have to know what you're going to do. Acha, Pakshu Vanansa, Aska Channel capital. Tichi Pata, how much capital do you need? Have you calculated? What is your project? How long are you going to go? Acha 10 lakh bakar, acha 10 crore bakar, ke acha 10 lakh bakar. The whole game will change based on that. So please make a specific project report of what you are wanting to do. Forget that you are a Kashmiri. It has nothing to do with that. There are no special laws for Kashmiris as long as business is concerned. So get that entrepreneurial spirit inside you. Do your business planning properly. Come back with a report. There are many agencies who will help you out.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravindraji. We have a question from Anil iPhone. Anil, I don't know. Anil ji.
Vinodji, namaskar.
Yeah.
I think with my picture, you should be able to place me.
Yeah.
I have, if you permit me, I have two questions actually for both Shireen and Ravinder.
Go ahead.
Now, Shireen, I think, has met a lot of businessmen, mostly successful businessmen. Why don't Kashmiris get into business? Has she ever analyzed or thought about it? The way Marwadis or Gujaratis get into business like fish to water. Why aren't we doing it? I got into business, probably I was forced to get into it because I lost my job. Or I didn't want to leave Srinagar, so I thought of starting a business there. But I see a lot of people, and Kashmiris are not very good employees also. Pardon me for saying this. All Kashmiris think they're better than bosses. They do well because we are intelligent. We look at things easily. We understand things easily. But why aren't we getting into businesses in general? This is a question for Shireen. I'm sure she has studied.
You can ask the second question also so that we can take both at one time.
Second question probably after this. That's slightly disconnected.
Okay.
I mean, there's no analysis that I've done, but I think as a personal view, I think we just didn't have a culture of risk taking. And for businesses, and we Kashmiris do stigmatize failure. It's not an option, within our community for people to fail. Hatte kya goe, strat pe. I mean, you've grown up listening to that. So you've grown up listening to that. So who's going to be willing to take a risk when that culture is so deeply entrenched? And I think it's subconsciously we've all picked up on that, and I think we have to unlearn a lot of that. I think it's slowly happening. On the second point that you make about Kashmiris not being good employees, well, I have to beg to differ because I think I'm a very, very good employee.
Yeah, so am I.
I also differ.
There are a lot of exceptions. There are a lot of exceptions.
I know who are Kashmiris.
There are a lot of exceptions. I have some working with me.
But
I have some working with me. I have worked with lots of Kashmiris. I think most of the Kashmiris think they're better than their bosses. Okay.
We will keep that for a future date.
I think there's an issue there, which and again I think it's a cultural thing that I think we need to be aware of that. This attitude of we know it all and we are somehow superior and better, and I think we need to be a little mindful of this, because I think if anything it holds us back instead of helping us move forward. So I think as people we just need to be mindful of that, not necessarily as Kashmiris or non-Kashmiris, but as people we need to be mindful that we have to respect the people that we engage with. We have to come whether it is work or relationships or organizations, with an attitude of wanting to work with people, wanting to learn from people, and this sense of sort of, like we know it all, is really the sort of nail in the coffin, so to speak. And I really hope that, if anyone's sort of working with that mindset, they unlearn it very quickly, because it won't take you very far. But I don't necessarily know if it's a Kashmiri thing.
Okay. We have a question from Pramod Rana. Pramodji.
But Anil had 2 questions.
Sorry. I think take from Pramod and we'll go back to him. Pramodji, you're unmute.
We'll have to, finish in another 10-15 minutes. Hello? We'll have to finish it by 9 o'clock because it's too late now. Huh? We'll take 2-3 questions. I shouldn't say you're going to get to Shirin Magas.
No. I shouldn't say you're going to
Okay, Namaskar. Can everyone hear me? This is Pramod.
Yes, Pramod, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My question, any one of can you answer, is like, are we looking at a scenario where in the present situation, we are seeing something like in terms of educational reforms? Like, I see a lot of changes in the way schooling is happening, or some of the exams, or some of the universities actually granting degrees at the end, at the final year. So, Shirin, maybe this is for you, if you have been talking to some entrepreneurs in terms from institutes or leaders where they are sensing some changes in this front, the way we do colleging or we do schooling right now.
Not in specific. I don't think that there's any move towards any big change or reform. But I think there are organizations and newer universities who are trying to experiment with doing things differently. You've got Ashoka University in Delhi, for instance, that is trying to give young Indians the access to a much more diverse curriculum, a much more liberal arts oriented curriculum, which has not really been an option available for many people here in India. So I think people are experimenting with that. And plus now with the advent of technology and the use of technology, you are being able to access online courses and so on and so forth. So you can in fact self-learn also, and even as far as a lot of the tech companies are concerned, you can do your certifications online and so on and so forth. So I don't think that there is any big reform or move towards any big changes, but I think you're seeing interesting things happening within different educational institutions and with the use of technology.
Okay. So we have a question from Sanjay Munshi. Sanjay ji, you can ask your question.
Okay. Mara pas question pati me chuprosun Shirin Ban question.
That's a problem. So which are making question between us.
Five English pati wani question par ban sir so much English English magar agar question par ban to atla ki baat khasi
Bucharest translate pat question figure.
Acha theek. I when world war economies gasan contract. Kya iski bahar ratan hai CL chuma dahane ratan karan ban sir.
Ha bozum.
Report chivan NPS gasan 0.5%, GDP growth gaisi -5% Shirin Ban when is kya yapochu share market hawa search so je bad contradiction gasan economics CNBS pe jim ana tim chik khosnaman share market che thoda hope diwan ichu bada contradiction is gasan aise mein ta share market mein posa lagan che is lagbu brot kin is karo ada voice e mein ta other story ichu 40% batas agar मैं पगा पुगा मारा गसन बराटन Shirin Ban.
But this is on a Zoom session live on Facebook, Mara. It's not.
I will allow Shirin to answer that, and I refuse to translate it.
You don't need to translate it. I understood every word of what you said. Standard.
No, I refuse to translate your answer.
I can't answer in Kashmiri, unfortunately.
I will refuse to translate your answer.
But my standard disclaimer: I don't give any stock advice, and investment is at your own risk. But there is this contradiction, and it's not just in India; it's world over. What we're seeing with the markets, and it's largely because there's so much liquidity. Central banks have put in so much money into the market that is what is driving stock prices at this point in time. The economy is in a weak spot. There's absolutely no denying that. Whether it's going to be minus 5% or minus 8%, the consensus at this point in time is that India will contract, and the number that most people are working with is a contraction of 5%. But markets are also pricing in the fact that this is going to be a washout year, but they're hoping that the recovery in FY21 onwards will lead to an earnings recovery as well. So that is what markets are pricing in, or markets are hoping for. But again, please understand that the market at this point in time is a very narrow market. There are 10 stocks that move the market from 30,000 to 34,000 and from 8,000 to 10,000 on the Nifty. So you have to be very careful about which stocks you're investing in and where you're putting your money. And over the last few years, the retail investors have lost money in the Indian markets. So you have to be careful about that. Systematic investment plans are a good option to go in. But if you're doing your research right and you're betting on companies that have strong fundamentals and have a strong growth trajectory, then you make your investment decisions based on that. But at this point in time, markets the world over, whether you look at the US market or you look at India, of course has now started to play catch up. We were underperforming, we're now playing catch up. Is largely because of the money that's come into the markets.
Thank you. We have a question from Ishu Bharti. Ishu?
Namaste, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
My name is Ishu Bharti Pandit, and I'm an actor. I want to ask a question to Shireen Ban, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask a question that how do I become a successful actor? I wanted advice from you.
How do you become a successful actor?
And I'm 13 years old, by the way.
You're 13 years old. You sound very, very confident. So I would just say that, whatever opportunities that you get, go out there, take part in your school plays, compete in, whatever competitions that come your way. Today, there's a lot of reality shows out there. If you have the support of your parents, but discuss that with them, because again, it's a difficult thing to do, managing school and that. But if that's what you're passionate about, then give it all you have, and be ready to sort of be ready to ensure that you put in a lot of the time and you do the hard work. So if you truly believe that this is your passion, I would suggest that to start with, at your school level, compete in as many competitions that you can, practice as hard as you can, so that you really get feedback from your audience on how good you truly are.
Wonderful. We have a question, last one today in the session, in the forum, iPhone. It doesn't have a name. Can you ask a question, sir? I unmuted you.
iPhone.
Hello,
yeah,
Vinodji, is this me? Yeah, this is me, sir.
Hey, you are a technology ka papa. Why don't you put your name there, in the display?
Yes. So good evening, everybody. My question is to Shreya. Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. Shirin, my question is to you. Actually, you are facing a lot of journalists today from our community. So, actually, I just wanted to ask about the current situation. Like, this is a business talk which we are doing today. So, my question was, right, even our Prime Minister Modi, he is saying that now India is going to be the superpower. So, this is a game changer for India. So, is this so right now? Is this the opportunity for us Indians that we can have more opportunities to do our startups? Because I'm also in essential services, and I'm also already seeing some of the multinational companies coming to India, and they are already they have started it. So do you really think that India is going to be the superpower and it is going to be #1 country
How does it matter, sir?
in future?
How does it matter whether India is going to be a superpower or not? The question is, do you have the ability to take your idea to become a superpower or not? Whether India becomes a superpower or not is immaterial. Will your product, your service stand in the marketplace is the issue, and you have to focus on ensuring that you have the best product out there, that you're able to deliver a quality service, you're able to create a brand that people aspire to own and aspire to want and aspire to be associated with. So it doesn't matter whether India becomes a superpower or not. You have to build a brand that people want, that consumers want.
Thank you. Shireen, I'm looking also at the Facebook chat. There are, I don't want to, there's a lot of people watching us on the Facebook chat. So there's one gentleman who's asking a question. What's your view on what, it's a very general question, what the government needs to do to get the economy back on the growth track, the 10% growth, and accelerate the 5 trillion economy to 5 trillion? But some thoughts on it. Very generic question, but he has asked it a few times, so I thought this.
I think the current situation, it's important to understand that the economy is not dealing with just COVID. The Indian economy has been slowing down and has been slowing down for since 2016. And we have come into the COVID crisis on a fairly weak footing. So this, to assume that what we're going through right now is because of COVID is not entirely accurate. I think what is important in India is to have a consistent policy. What is important is to make it easy for people to actually get out and do business, and to not have this sort of fear psychosis that has been created when it comes to banks to be able to lend and so on and so forth. There has been a paralysis of credit that has taken place. So and I also believe that there has to be a lot of responsibility on corporate India to ensure that there are good corporate governance norms that are followed. But at the same time, we now need to ensure that investment comes back. And I think it will take time. But, my hope is that at some point next year, I think this year is going to be very, very difficult. At some point next year, we will start to see a recovery take place. But it really boils down to just making things simple, keeping it consistent. If you tell somebody this is the goalpost, then you stick with that goalpost, as opposed to changing the rules of the game, because no investor wants to do business when there is an uncertain environment that they're dealing with. So I think that's going to be crucial. We have myriads of laws at the central level, at the state level, all of that. I think it's just now the razor sharp focus on making it easy for people to actually get on and do business. I think that has to be the focus of the government.
Okay. Thank you. I think this was the last question, and just one question from you talked about what different we can create. You talked about learning from your interviews with the business magnates, that how different can you create. Do you think you said world 2.0, the COVID, when it becomes better, things will not change, we'll go back to the normal world. Is it how true is it? Because there is a divergent view that it's a world 2.0.
No, I didn't say that. I said I think it's premature to extrapolate that the world as we know it will change forever. I think a lot of the extrapolations made today are a little premature. So I think we will have to be careful to say what will change and what will so dramatically change that it will be an irreversible change. So I think we still have to figure those things out. I think there are businesses and sectors that will definitely see significant disruption, as we've already discussed. But this whole idea that from now on, it'll only be work from home, I don't believe that's going to be the case. I think that once, we get over the fear, and once we are somewhere closer to being able to have a medical breakthrough, whether through a drug or a vaccine or whatever, people will come back to work. That's human nature. You want engagement, you want social interaction. So while companies will give the flexibility, or at least will ensure that for one meeting you don't have to make a day trip to Bombay and you can do it on a Zoom call and so on and so forth. So it'll make the work process a lot more efficient, because people are also going to realize how much money has been lost on just this wasteful kind of travel and so on and so forth. But I don't believe that we're going to move completely to a work from home environment. So I think we should be careful about extrapolating what will change and how irreversible these changes are going to be. We should wait a bit to see how this plays out and pans out.
Thank you. Ravindra Bansa, your viewpoint on that point particularly, do you think, how does this world...
Yeah, I have also been reading a lot of the new normal, and I have categorically told people that it is absolutely stupid, at least for me, to define anything as the new normal before we are in the normal. We are in the middle of a lockdown, partly lifted, partly still there. So the normal is not here now. And whatever we are talking in terms of this work from home being a reality later on, I had written it down in one of my LinkedIn status messages, that work from home is not what you are saying today. Don't mistake this as work from home. What you are saying today is locked at home. Work from home is a different thing, right? So it is a forced work from home. Now, when you remove that force, how the mechanics is going to work is something that needs to be seen. So my very humble submission, do not believe that because people have worked from home for these couple of months, that because of that the work from home will become the normal. At least I don't believe that. It might still be, but for a different set of reasons. Like Shireen very rightly said, people will understand the wasteful and the absolute stupidity of making so much of unrequired travel. Those things will change, but I don't think this is the new normal yet. We will have to come back to normal to know what is the new normal.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shireen and Ravindrajit. Thanks a lot for being us with this session.
One small point before I close. The gentleman who said that Kashmiris are not good employees. Sir,
we are very good employees. He said we are not good employers.
I'll deal with the both. Sir, with my utmost respect to you, number one, for every bad employee, there are 30 bad employers in the world, and it is not a Kashmiri thing. In my 37 years of my career, I have been an employee, I have been a subordinate, I have been a boss, I have been a country head, then I became an entrepreneur, I became an employer. I won't use that word. If I was bad as an employer, I am equally bad as an employee. So it's not about Kashmiri thing. Let's leave that out. Yes, we have to get out of this thing called intelligent. आज गए 5 साल मेरी ऐसे स्ट्रीम्स 8 Nobel Prize है उसमें. So that smashes that.
Okay. Thank you, Manas. I think very interesting insights for all generation of people. We had a young generation who is 10th and 12th, and we had somebody who are entrepreneurs, and some people who are well above 50s. So everything had their own takeaways, and very interesting session. I request Sanjay Rana ji to propose vote of thanks.
Yeah. So good evening once again. So it's a very, very wonderful session. Lot of knowledge shared by our legends, which is really of great help. Even though now people have started earlier, it was not like that. That people were thinking about of their own business, but now it is the people have started thinking about it, and our experts have given a proper advice. So it's really a great help, and we really thank each and every person of our JKVM team also for their consistent support and reaching to maximum people out there with which normally we couldn't have been able to reach out with our such legends of our community like this. But this platform has given an opportunity to each and every person to have the direct interaction with our legends, which is really of great help. So I thanks once again both our participants of today's program from our core of heart, and thank you very much on behalf of team JKVM.
Thank you so much. And there was a gentleman asking if Young Turks is available on YouTube. Yes, it is. You can find it on YouTube, and you can also find it on our Facebook page, on the CNBC TV 18 Facebook page, and on YouTube as well. Thank you for inviting me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Mr. Bhan, for sharing your views. I enjoyed doing this session with you.
No, it's my absolute pleasure.
I have unmuted everyone, so we need to give a round of applause for our distinguished speakers and convey that it was a wonderful session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
End the session here, and thank you. We'll join you again. We'll come back again next week with one more session. Thank you.
Thank you.